right. Insurance is a growing sector, and we're seeing an increasing level of interest in its growth in AGGM. I'm delighted to be joined by such an esteemed panel today. What we're actually going to cover is two focus areas, one on captives and one on just generally reinsurance solutions and how they can help businesses as they grow. Time is fairly tight, so we'll kind of just get straight into it, but please kind of introduce yourself as we answer the questions. Carl, if we can start with you and just really give us that overview sense of kind of what are captives, why would companies use them, how they work, what are potential benefits?
Okay. Thanks, David. I'm Carl De Giovanni, Director of Client Solutions for Aon's captive and insurance management business across the EMEA region. Basically, a captive in its simplest form is an insurance or reinsurance company that is set up by a non-insurance group, predominantly to insure its own risks, that of its group and its subsidiaries. Why are captives being set up? There are a range of reasons, but I think predominantly nowadays it is to counteract the effects of the challenges of the direct insurance market. So we're operating in a hard market where capacity is reducing, premium rates are increasing, terms and conditions are challenging for insureds, and for those organizations that have risks where they're mature enough to retain that risk and manage that risk, a captive undertaking works really well. What we're seeing nowadays is also captives are very useful where risks are non-insurable or not readily insurable on the direct market. Emerging risks, we're talking a lot during this week around AI, around cyber, around IT risks. These are all risks that organizations are exposed to. Effects of those risks could be catastrophic. They're non-insurable at the moment. A captive can be a great solution to first retain part of that risk, transfer that risk from an organization's balance sheet into a formal insurance or reinsurance structure, but then also be able to access additional capacity such as reinsurance market or other forms of capital.
Okay. And I suppose one of the interesting features about the sector is, as Aon has done here, set itself up as a captive manager to manage captives. Can you just tell us a bit about how that works and what benefit that can provide to
Yeah, indeed. So captives are set up in jurisdictions that understand captives and that are able to regulate captives unlike normal insurance companies. ADGM being one of them and pretty much at the forefront, I would say nowadays when it comes to regulation of captives. A captive is typically, the management of a captive is typically outsourced to experts such as us, Aon, rather than employing own staff to manage those captives. And that the benefit of that brings a wealth of expertise in various areas, not just pure captive management, but also enterprise risk management, actuarial, and other forms of expertise.
Thank you. Moving to the reinsurance space now. Matthew and Andrew have got lots of experience working in the reinsurance sector, Lloyd's and elsewhere, but please introduce yourselves. But I mean, Andrew, if we could start with you, thinking about the intermediation of reinsurance. Could you tell us what is the role of the broker in really helping clients find solutions to manage the risks to which they're exposed?
So I always like to define a broker as ultimately somebody who can do a deal with two people that don't like each other. and transactionally too, of course, we have a depth of knowledge and not only that, but personal relationships in the market which give an edge. I think when it comes to reinsurance, ultimately we all know each other. And Matt and I go back a long way. We both come out of a Lloyd's stable. And the reinsurance market, although it may seem very, very large and very widespread over the world, the key players in it all know each other and hopefully trust each other and so on. When it comes to captives, it's a very specific form of reinsurance, as Carl's just commented on. And I think that the role of the broker there actually is a little bit more complex because it's not least trying to get the best deal for somebody or get the broadest cover, if you like, at the most competitive price. But there's an element of risk advisory management and really deciding what risk should be retained within a captive and what risk should be reinsured out. And I think, when you talk about the fact that these days market pricings have been high, and, ultimately to have your own captive helps reduce your premium spend, although it increases your risk retention, that arguably if you're a very large operation, I don't know, like a ship owner like MSC Shipping or someone like that, or indeed, ADNOC here, that, if you have good risk management within your operation and you trust the fact that you're not going to have claims unless they're from an act of God, not through any lack of due diligence or any kind of entity where you don't trust your own self to run well, then captives, of course, are a brilliant way to retain risk and spend less on reinsurance.
Yes, and I suppose as a entity, whether they're a financial services entity or another type of entity, looks to manage the risks to which it's exposed. A key part of that is looking at, well, what are its insurable risks and how can it help? How can it use insurance and reinsurance to help manage those risks? Matt, turning to you, looking at it from the underwriting side, what is the key role that the underwriter then plays in this whole process?
Thank you very much indeed. My name is Matthew Warren. I'm the Executive Chairman for Fidelis Middle East and Africa and Asia. Having been an underwriter for many years and started with probably Andrew in the late 80s, I think, in the Lloyd's market, it's an art and a science together, I think. You learn for many years sitting next to senior underwriters as you grow up. Obviously, you can study and you can read about that in books, but really sitting next to the underwriter or the senior underwriter in your business and learning by your class of business. And really what an underwriter does is he works very closely, or she works very closely with the broker, and they review the risk, and he or she will set the terms and conditions of the placement accordingly. Obviously, throughout the transaction, you look at utmost good faith, so all the information is shared in a very transparent and open environment. And if you're the lead market, you may set the terms and conditions, or if you're a following market, you may actually just follow the lead terms or put some differential up if need be. But I think for me, as a reinsurer, we really understate what the industry does. We are the bedrock of the industry, I think, that supports banks and financial institutions and all their loans in the element of risk transfer to the insurance industry.
Indeed. And it's not just it's easy to think of insurance and reinsurance as kind of old, traditional type aspect. What relevance does it have? But of course, it plays a key role in understanding and making new technology work and be used, looking at new risks and how to actually use those within a business, but also being able to get coverage on those if things don't go quite to plan.
Absolutely. There's lots of classes of business. I think we write over 85 at Fidelis. They could be marine and construction, they could be energy, all lines of business in general. So you have specialists in your areas that will evaluate the risk, and within that they'll write it accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking of new things like cyber risk, and increasingly now we're seeing, okay, well, what happens on virtual assets as well, and people looking for cover to complete that whole process for the new ecosystem. I mean, AdRe and Fidelis have both chosen to set up in AGGM under the kind of underwriting agent model. It's a model which is growing in popularity from what I see around the world. Could you just give us your own views on, each of you, on why you've chosen that model and why have you chosen to set up in AGGM?
We're a little bit different because
of course,
Abu Dhabi Reinsurance Company is a managing general agent that writes on behalf of multiple carriers. And I'll let Matt comment more on the Fidelis model. The reason why we chose that model, one, it was very exciting to be the first here. I don't mean to be too boastful about that. We had a lot of help from you, David, in establishing ourselves. And it's really exciting to be in the ADGM. I think the MGA model is a very excellent way to start, not least because you don't have to have vast amounts of capital to get an A rating. You can really write on behalf of carriers that already have substantial wealth. And the reason why they quite like the MGA model, whether it's an in-house MGA model or if you're writing, as I said, on behalf of third parties, is because when you're in a region locally, and our team here, we have an excellent underwriting team led by a lady called Tejal Bartle, is in the audience here today, is that she's been in this region for over a decade. Her knowledge of the business, which is predominantly an energy play, is from 25 years of working internationally. But in terms of MGAs, if you're trying to write the business out of London or out of America or out of say, Singapore, there's nothing like having hands-on local expertise, which in theory should be ahead of the game by knowing what businesses are going to hopefully be the most profitable. So it's a benefit for both parties.
Yes.
I think from a Fidelis perspective, Andrew summed up the MGA structure very well. We made a decision about just over a year ago to bifurcate the business so the holding company and the insurance group sits on the New York Stock Exchange, whereas we became the Fidelis Partnership and the MGU, which is Managing General Underwriter. Now, we followed this for years. We are now the largest by far globally at the MGU. We exceed the various members in the US and other jurisdictions. But it's a great way to focus on underwriting and analytics and risk management, because we split the business so focus is purely on underwriting day to day. And that's how really we sort of managed to spearhead the growth and the underwriting results under the chairman and chief executive called Richard Brindle.
Thank you very much. Aphrodite, moving to you. As I said at the start, we've seen a growing and strong, quite strong pipeline of interest in companies looking to set up insurance operations in AGGM. And how can companies such as your own consultancy help applicants through the whole process?
Thank you. I am Aphrodite Boura, Director of History Limited. We are here in the ADGM. We are a boutique consultancy specialized in serving financial institutions and high net worth individuals. So we have experts doing that, and we offer a range of services such as financial applications, incorporation, licensing, outsourcing services for compliance, risk, data protection, and company secretary. We conduct independent risk assessments, and of course we deliver advanced training programs. We focus on industries such as reinsurance, insurance captives, asset management, brokerage firms. We like digital assets and complex blockchain. So we support clients. I would say we empower clients to make their own history in the UAE and in the ADGM. We are next to them, step by step, from the beginning until the end. We are the people that nobody likes, but everybody needs. The compliance officers in the companies that you say good morning and pretend that you don't exist. But we are a safety net, okay, for you to conduct your business in a safe and secure way.
Yeah, and it's great to see that supporting ecosystem growing in AGGM to support the actual businesses that are operating here. I mean, one aspect is obviously the kind of growing landscape of governance requirements, risk management requirements, compliance, as you've touched on. And things continue to evolve, expectations grow. So what can companies do to equip themselves to be better prepared and to understand the regulatory environment?
Well, I need to say that whoever wants to establish presence in the ADGM, they need to know that it's a very sophisticated ecosystem. That means that we are supported by a knowledgeable regulator, and I don't say it because David sits next to me. We have advanced rules and legislations that adhere to international best standards. I have worked in many jurisdictions, so it's a very holistic approach. That comes with obligations from the company side that they need to meet the expectations of the regulatory authorities. It also comes with opportunities because we have areas here that new ideas, innovative ideas, can become reality, and we have a regulator that can support it. Also, we have an advanced ecosystem, regulatory environment that the stakeholders and the investors, they value a lot. So they believe that entities, a secure environment that they can invest their money. No, it's like a coin. So we want security, we want transparency, we want sustainability, and at the same time, we need to support the system by being compliant. And when I say compliant, it means in a nice, productive way. Okay? So companies must be prepared. We have an enhanced governance system. It will be even more. That comes with challenges for compliance officers. So you need to choose carefully the governance, compliance, and risk teams that can ensure sustainability for your company. And allow me to emphasize on risk officers, because I am one of them, and you need to choose risk officers that are capable of treating risks and creating frameworks for emerging situations and risks. Artificial intelligence is not coming, it's here already. ESG, cybersecurity. It's a proactive approach and not a reactive approach.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
that insight.
Can I
Yep.
make a small announcement?
please.
Okay, because compliance officers can also be non-compliant under certain conditions. So I am very pleased to announce that we are incorporating the first reinsurance association in the ADGM. So we will have more announcements soon. We will reach out to the stakeholders of the industry, but it's a very nice initiative that we, we hope that we will have support and interaction with all of you.
It's an exciting development, yeah. And
Yes, it
wish
is.
you well with it. I'm just conscious of the time, so just to kind of finish things up, it would be really good if we could just get just kind of 20 seconds or so, each of your views as to the outlook for the future for the sector. I mean, Carl, if we can start with you, just in terms of what your view is for the outlook for captives and kind of the opportunities and how ADGM can be part of that.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of interest. The outlook is, in my view, that captives will be at the forefront of organizations' risk management discussions. And the ADGM, I have to say, is considering the proportionality of captives in the right way, in the way you regulate them. And I can only see a bright future for the captive industry, both globally and here in the region.
Great. And Andrew, similarly, what's your view in terms of challenges and opportunities for the future here in
Well,
this region?
it's such an exciting place to be, as you just mentioned with your new initiative there, Aphrodite. And I think, Matt and I, we need more of you and me, Matt. I think we need more businesses to come here. We need more critical mass, actually. I think the market needs to continue to grow. And I think that there's every opportunity to do so. It's a wonderful place to be and expand.
Yeah, I think certainly from my side, I know, having been in the region 19 years and regulation, I think it's very friendly. It's a risk-based approach. We're delighted to be here in ADGM, sort of the second carrier per se, I guess. I think there'll be more coming into the region. As we know, it's a perfect springboard into Africa and throughout the Asia-Pacific region.
And final thoughts, Aphrodite?
Well, we are here to support. There is no reputational risk. It doesn't exist, but there is reputational damage. And once it happens, companies go down very quickly. Okay? And I would say we are here not to say no as compliance officers. We are here to say what you want to do and sit with you of how you can do it in the most safe way for you as individuals and professionals, for your companies, and for the ecosystem that we operate within.
And I think you were telling me before that the pipeline continues to grow as well of interest as well.
We chose ADGM for specific reasons, and we bring companies here exactly for these reasons. It's a life choice, and we put trust in that.
Great. Well, our time is up, so that's all we have time for today. So thank you very much for your insightful comments. If people would like to know more, then please get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.